Hello, knowledge seekers. In this episode of 20-Minute Books, we delve into the microscopic yet immensely influential world as revealed in A Planet of Viruses by the acclaimed science writer Carl Zimmer. This enlightening book offers a journey through the depths of the virosphere, exposing how these minuscule entities have shaped our past and continue to forge our future. We explore not only the perilous aspects of viruses, their ability to wreak havoc on our health, but also their surprising benefits and the role they play in our ecosystem. Carl Zimmer, the author, brings a wealth of expertise as a columnist for the New York Times and a respected lecturer at Yale University. With a speciality in communicating complex scientific ideas around science and the environment, Zimmer has also authored 13 books, including the well-known Parasite Rex and Microcosm. His work extends into illustrious publications such as National Geographic, making him a trusted voice in the scientific community. A Planet of Viruses is an essential read for anyone drawn to the origins of diseases, with a curiosity for biology or an interest in the scientific principles behind treatments for viral infections. Join us as we unpack the contents of this extraordinary book that will forever change the way you see the invisible world around you. A Planet of Viruses. Why one of the best science thinkers alive says viruses are essential for life. Introduction. Unveiling the viral landscape. More than just microscopic menaces. Picture this: a world where every year, without fail, a tidal wave of sniffles and coughs sweeps across the globe. It's the flu season, and while it might seem like just another recurring inconvenience, it's a stark reminder of the power that tiny entities, known as viruses, hold over our health and well-being. The influenza virus isn't the only one to worry about, though. There are far more formidable viral foes out there, such as Ebola, which has claimed thousands of lives in its outbreaks. But before we cast viruses as the villains of the microscopic world, let's consider the bigger picture. Could these infinitesimal organisms have a role that extends beyond the havoc they wreak on human populations? Are they purely destructive, or is there a possibility they also act as guardians, maintaining a balance by keeping other threats in check? As we pull back the veil on these questions, you'll uncover the unexpected relationship between Romans and mice. Discover how viruses can indeed be lifesavers, and delve into the complex challenge of trying to wipe out a resilient enemy like Ebola. In the twisted tapestry of life, viruses are the enigmatic threads that can both unravel our health and stitch together solutions in the most unexpected ways. Join me as we explore the multifaceted world of viruses. It's a journey through a landscape at once beautiful and perilous, filled with as much potential for creation as for destruction. Part 1. A Historical Headache. The Enduring Puzzle of the Common Cold. The common cold. An ailment as old as time itself, perennially turning noses red and depleting the world's supply of tissues. It's a fascinating reality that our ancestors endured the same sniffles and sneezes that bother us today. This historical health nuisance is mostly due to the rhinovirus, which even made its way into the ancient medical records of Egypt. Picture a scene from 3,500 years ago, where an Egyptian scholar documents the nuisance resh, marked by relentless coughing and nasal congestion. The remedies from ancient times range from the rational to the peculiar. The Egyptians opted for herbs and honey, pretty sensible by today's standards. But the Romans, they had the curious idea that rubbing a mouse across one's nose was the secret to curing a runny nose. What a sight that must have been. As the centuries rolled by, theories about the common cold took many turns. The ancient Greeks believed it was a matter of unbalanced bodily fluids, while as late as 1900, Leonard Hill thought colds were simply the body's reaction to temperature changes during a brisk morning stroll. It wasn't until the 20th century that the scientific world cracked the case, pointing definitively to the rhinovirus. But even with this knowledge, a surefire cure for the cold remains elusive. Perhaps it's time to shift our perspective and ask, should we be in a rush to find a remedy? Sometimes, a mild annoyance like the rhinovirus can be an immune system's training ground, prepping it for battle against far more sinister viral antagonists. And, speaking of those formidable foes, let us now turn to those viruses. These are the ones that don't just tickle the throat, but pose a genuine threat to humanity. Stay tuned as we journey deeper into the viral abyss and discover the deadliest of the bunch. Part 2. Unpredictable and ever-changing. The deadly dance of influenza. Step into the arena with one of humanity's most formidable microscopic foes, influenza, a virus as lethal as it is slippery. Historically, influenza has left a trail of devastation in its path, and despite our advances in medical science, it remains a moving target, eluding a definitive cure. How does influenza wreak such havoc? It breaches our body's defenses by attacking the membranes lining our airways, stripping away our natural armor, and opening the gates to a host of harmful pathogens. Perhaps the most chilling evidence of its power was the 1918 flu epidemic, which claimed up to 50 million lives. And even now, in our modern world, it's estimated that flu still claims up to 500,000 lives annually. What makes influenza such a formidable adversary is its cunning variability. It's a shapeshifter with many strains that are constantly mutating, intermingling genes in a never-ending biological ballet. Crafting a cure for a virus that's always one step ahead is a monumental challenge. The flu also possesses a terrifying talent for cross-species transmission. Unassuming birds often act as carriers for these viruses, which usually don't bother other animals, but when they do, the consequences are dire. Recalling the 2009 H1N1 swine flu pandemic, we saw how bird viruses commingled within pigs to form a virulent new virus, which could then jump to humans. Despite this grim reality, we're not without our defenses. A splash of water, a dollop of soap, and a thorough hand scrub, such simple acts are potent weapons against the flu's spread. So, as we brace for the next unpredictable strain, remember that some of the most effective shields we wield are also the most rudimentary. Part 3. Unlikely Allies. How certain viruses are essential for our existence. Surprising as it may sound, not all viruses are out to make us miserable. In fact, some are unsung heroes, playing a pivotal role in our very survival. Enter the world of bacteriophages, or phages for short, the bacterial hunters that can combat diseases by targeting and consuming bacteria. Félix de Herelle, a pioneering doctor, stumbled upon phages while examining dysentery in WW1 French soldiers. Filtering through their stool samples, de Herelle isolated the Shigella bacteria responsible for the dysentery and noticed that an invisible assailant was destroying the bacteria. It was the phages at work. After daring to test these on himself, de Herelle used them to successfully treat the soldiers. Despite the initial success, the medical community hesitated at the thought of treating patients with live viruses, and by the mid-20th century, antibiotics had overshadowed phages. However, phages weren't done. They've taken on a new role as guardians of the aquatic world. Imagine this. Every liter of seawater teems with an astronomical number of viruses. Crucial among them are the marine phages. These tiny titans cull harmful ocean bacteria daily, ensuring the prevention of cholera and other waterborne diseases. And let's not forget about endogenous retroviruses like HERV-W. First discovered in 1999 by Jean-Luc Blond and colleagues, which are viruses that become integrated within an animal's genetic code, including humans. These viral genes are passed on as cells divide, becoming an intrinsic part of our genome. For instance, the HERV-W virus has gifted us the gene for syncytin, a protein vital for the formation of the human placenta. So here we are, owing a debt of gratitude to viruses for their unseen hand in our development and survival. It is a humbling reminder that we are, in many ways, products of the viral world, and they continue to shape our existence, sometimes in the most astonishing and benevolent ways. Part 4. Viruses. Shaping our past and dictating our future. The voyage of discovery through the realm of viruses has taught us much, revealing the many ways they influence our daily lives, history, and evolution. This knowledge equips us to better navigate the uncertain waters of our future alongside these minuscule and mighty entities. Consider the story of HIV. Since its emergence in the 1980s, it has left a tragic trail, infecting 60 million and claiming nearly 30 million lives. By infiltrating and commandeering the body's immune cells, it reproduces rapidly and devastates the immune system, leaving the body vulnerable to otherwise preventable diseases like pneumonia. The extensive research on the highly infectious HIV-1 strain has led to intriguing discoveries about its origins. The hypothesis that stands out traces HIV-1 to monkeys in Cameroon, suggesting that it jumped to humans through hunters who consumed the infected meat and spread further with the onset of colonialism. By retracing HIV's evolutionary footsteps, scientists aim to pinpoint its Achilles heel, paving the way for possible treatments or vaccines. Looking into the past can often enlighten our present understanding of viruses, reinforcing the adage that history has a tendency to repeat itself. One need only consider the tale of the West Nile virus, a mosquito-borne menace that made the leap from birds to humans, causing brain inflammation, paralysis, and death. It bridged continents, traveling from the Eastern Hemisphere to the United States, highlighting how winged carriers and blood-sucking transmitters can distribute disease far and wide. With the climate in places like the U.S. growing ever warmer and damper, the conditions for mosquito propagation only improve. As we've observed with West Nile, this likely foretells similar scenarios with other such viruses. For researchers and public health officials, the lessons learned from past outbreaks are invaluable. By applying these insights, we can hope to preempt the onslaught of future viruses, staying one step ahead in our perpetual coexistence with these perennial viral companions. Part 5. The unpredictable threat of viral outbreaks. Our arsenal against viral illnesses has grown impressively, with modern medicine providing us tools and tactics previously unimaginable. Yet, there is a shadow that looms large over our triumphs: the unpredictable nature of virus epidemics and the potential havoc they can wreak. Ebola, a name synonymous with fear and mortality, is a prime example of this menacing unpredictability. Its first known emergence in 1976 in Guinea set a terrifying precedent, with symptoms so severe and graphic they sound like the stuff of nightmares. Since that initial outbreak, Ebola has resurfaced sporadically, each time evolving and stretching its deadly reach further than before. The interconnectedness of our world today means that what once stayed within remote villages now travels across borders with alarming speed. The 2013 Ebola outbreak is a grim testament to this, claiming over 10,000 lives. It illustrates a sobering reality. Viruses like Ebola silently persevere in wild animal hosts, biding their time until the next spillover into human populations, an event impossible to foresee. But there's another specter that haunts our future with viruses: the potential for their weaponization. Advances in genetic engineering now allow scientists to reconstruct diseases like polio from the ground up. Although this power holds promise for understanding and combating viruses, it also opens a Pandora's box. If such capabilities were repurposed maliciously for biological warfare, take the case of smallpox, eradicated from the world, but preserved for research, with orders for its complete destruction. Should any vials remain, or should any entity decide to reconstruct it from its genetic blueprint, the consequences could be catastrophic. The very proficiency that equips us to fight viruses could, if misused, unleash them as weapons, presenting a chilling dilemma for the generations to come. The challenge we face is not just against natural outbreaks, but also the potential for human-engineered viral threats. Final summary. Our journey through the world of viruses has been one of awe and realization. These microscopic entities have traversed alongside humanity since the dawn of our existence, entwining themselves into the very fabric of life. Yes, they are agents of illness, tipping the delicate balance of health into the throes of sickness, but they also play a role as environmental custodians, purifying our waters and contributing to the intricate web of our ecosystem. The chapters of history, enriched by the relentless pursuit of scientific knowledge, have illuminated our understanding of these viral phantoms. We've learned to decode their mysteries, uncovering truths that span from the benign common cold to the devastating wrath of epidemics like Ebola. Yet, with all our advancements, the future of viral infections remains shadowed by uncertainty. Outbreaks rise unpredictably, defying our efforts to predict and contain them. Moreover, as we wield the double-edged sword of genetic technology, we are faced with a disquieting possibility. Viruses could transcend their natural role and be refashioned as tools of conflict, reshaping the landscape of warfare into one marked by biological terror. Despite these concerns, ongoing research and vigilance remain our best defense. As we continue to delve into both the perils and promises that viruses hold, we arm ourselves with the crucial knowledge needed to navigate our coexistence with these complex organisms. May our future endeavors in understanding viruses bolster our capacity to respond, to adapt, and to thrive amid a planet teeming with these invisible yet inextricable companions. Thank you for joining me today on this journey of learning and discovery as we explored the insights of another thought-provoking book in our growing library of knowledge. If you've enjoyed our time together, please take a moment to follow our podcast, give us a 5-star rating, and share 20-minute books with other knowledge seekers. Your support truly means a lot. Don't forget to join me again in the next episode, where we will delve into another enriching book. Until then, happy reading and happy listening.